switch.
Don't know. No slouching. No slouching,
I sit
Canada.
like this all day.
Elbows up, Canada. Elbows up.
Ooh,
No
right,
slouching.
good
Look
on.
at him. He's got lower. Good
My-
afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. We've gone live just as Joshua's trying to work out his seating. Anyway, I hope everybody's well. Where to start? Well, we'll welcome Tony White from Galaxy Airships, and and Josh found out some Part 108 stuff, which I found pretty amazing this week, and Tony's found out something which I don't understand at all. Tony, take it away and tell us just what sort of aircraft we can't fly under Part 108.
Well, it's this is kind of a groundbreaking thing. The airships have become dangerous. Or the reasoning is let me skip down to the part that it says, because it's in subpart H, design and testing requirements for airworthiness acceptance, and in number 2, the one of the requirements is not be an airship. That's actually the requirement, is to not be an airship. Okay, so I was like, okay,
sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's just mad.
well, this is second time for us. This is our second time around to have to deal with stuff like that. But what they're saying is that Subpart H would not allow for airships to be eligible for airworthiness approval under Part 108. This is because UA operating under Part 108 would be required to see the right-of-way to other aircraft, which are broadcasting ADS-B. Per proposed 108.195, the low speed and relatively long response times and control inputs make it unlikely that an airship would be able to maintain safe separation by avoiding detecting aircraft. Finally, H is not known for aircraft design. Okay. Oh, carrying path. Okay, so that's the short little blurb we got. And it was funny that back in 2000, specifically down 2006, 2007, I was flying 60 and 75-foot airships on a Class D airport and outside of Dallas, Texas, within the pattern, them flying around us with perfect coordination, with perfect detection and everything. We're one of the rare ducks out there that everybody can see, and we're pretty maneuverable. I mean, we're not super turn on a dime, but there is no delay in input. And this all happens, and this is the frustrating part of the FAA for us dealing with them for the past 20 years. That the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. We just went through we got on a special thing called a technical assist committee. So we got these experts from the FAA to help us try to get. We got our 35-foot model, our newer models, and our 50-foot model, our 44807 exemption to fly over 55 pounds. Technically, even though we're lighter than air, the mass weight is over 55 pounds. So we're able to get both of those with never flying anything, just submitting the paperwork, and the fact that we're legacy people that have been around since 2000. So we have a lot of legacy flight time. We've got a lot of legacy flight hours, and though we've upgraded and changed the airships, the core of the ship is the same. So that was another big reason. But that committee did not talk to anybody to make this grandioso decision that this particular airframe, this particular aircraft type, it can't respond. It can't be part of this. And we've been leading the charge for AAM for the past 10 years, trying to push the airship as a type of aircraft that we can do all the initial testing on, because it's inherently safe aircraft to do all this, any kind of testing NASA, FAA want to do. We've been offered up. The Air Force knows about us. The Army knows about us. So we're not an unknown quantity. And the fact that this happened and we didn't get any consulting, we weren't. I was part of the safety rule committee that had been established. They're not meeting anymore, but that was the guy from I think the guy from Wing or Lift was the chair of that one. And they started this new committee for 108 and over 55 pounds. And hey, I want to be on that. We're over 55 pounds. Well, maybe they saw this coming. Maybe they knew we were airships or something, and they wouldn't let us on that committee. And so, and just the word airship. I mean, we're the only company we're Galaxy Unmanned Systems. We were Galaxy Airships before. We don't use blimp. Blimp. Where did you get airship? So, I mean, it's really weird what's happening. And this is back in the 2000s. We died along the vine with everybody else. We got our cease and desist in 2009. We were going to do aerial broadcasting with big airships. We had worked with the FAA all the way through that. We had gotten concessions under what was it? 9157, not A, not B, the original 9157 guidance. This man is. Yeah, I get amped up when I talk about this stuff. So yeah, so this is what's happening to us. So now we have to start working on our response and trying to get as much support as we can on this.
You could have parachute on it, though, couldn't you?
No, parachutes mean nothing. So if you look at the new rules,
drones, parachutes. I dropped cows on parachutes back in the day for Chick-fil-A. So.
Well, one question is: your airship, like, are people actually on it?
No, these are unmanned airships.
Okay,
We started doing them like 35-foot long models. We've been doing unmanned since the 80s. You know, we've been doing this forever, mainly fixed wing stuff. We did the quads when they came out. We were way before the quads, and we graduated from small 20-foot blimps that we built for the indoor, doing the indoor. You know, if you ever go to a professional hockey or basketball game, we started airships with that. That was our introduction. And then we just started graduating outdoors, and they just kept getting bigger because we had this unique thing of, you know, we were doing aerial photography with a big fixed wing airplane. It was kind of scary flying a giant scale aircraft with a gas engine over a golf course with a, 35 millimeter shooting, pictures. And this is dicey, man. I mean, there's people under here, there's houses everywhere. So we just graduated to the airship, and I don't like them, but it makes the most sense. And when you go into something reluctant like we did, we were able to suss out all the weaknesses because we were always trying to go away from it, but it kept staying there. We kept making it better. We kept, like, I could fly in winds in 35 knots. All the problems that the manned systems have, we didn't have. And I could carry the exact same cameras. So we were doing broadcasting for ESPN using a Cineflex V14, the same camera they use on full-size helicopters and airships. It was just an unmanned system. RC control, I was sitting on in a chair, flying it from the outside because we weren't even prepared to be on air. We were just doing a free demo, and we made air. So it was very, very basic back then. And we were part of we got on the Aviation Rule Committee in the early 2000s. We were on that committee. And that's the only way we knew that they had changed 9157 where they said no commercial. They got scared. Scan Eagle, all these guys were coming to market. They didn't know what to do. They knew something was in the it was just started with the helicopter, the Harry Potter movie with the helicopter, the Swiss Air, the Swiss guys were coming over doing movies, and they didn't have a plan. And they just said, you know what, we're just going to cut this off, and we'll come back. We were on the committee. They told us, we're suspending it. But we kept going. I mean, we kept going all the way up to we did those demos in 2008. And we got our cease and desist in 2009. And then right after that, we demoed at Quantico, Virginia. We demoed at the end of that committee wrapped up. We had Air Environment there. We had a Scan Eagle was there. All the top players were there flying demos. And I had a 60-foot airship at the end of the line and did the demo. And everybody, as soon as the Scan Eagle took, AOPA was there, all the doubters, everybody that was against us was there. And as soon as that Scan Eagle took off, and as soon as it got like 100 feet away, it disappeared, right? It's gone. Oh, we're in the crowd. Oh, no, this is never going to happen. But when they get to us, it's a big blimp. It's 60 foot long. I'm running my broadcast camera, but it didn't matter. We didn't have anybody. AVSI at the time was 100% DOD. We had no activism, and no one was fighting for it. So that's how we lost it, and we had to shutter the company back then. We switched over to DOD.
Yeah, so that was one of the questions. I'm reading the rule right now. So I see you've got I don't know, 10 lines of text, but half of it is more talking about design for carriage and crew. So if you remove that last paragraph, the only thing it sees here that it sounds like you need to argue is the low speed, relatively long response time, because from my understanding, it's probably the detect and avoid committee that's put on requirements that when you need to be able to disengage your flight path within a certain period of time. Because the one thing is with the BVLOS rule, like the FAA has been kicking around all the ASTM meetings. I was pretty impressed that 10 to 15 of them were showing up for several meetings, and then they got into the I don't know, it was ex parte or whatever the process where they had to stop talking about it, but they were pretty engaged. But I can see here, is parachutes going to be mandatory? I don't see the language. It's going to be a fail-safe mechanism. Maybe you're going to have it, but you're not
Newtons of impact. That's the thing. The method's up to you. It's newtons of impact.
No, but
And
no,
again,
that's not
what
that. There's nothing
the
in
over
here about
people?
kinetic energy. Yeah, no. So the what they're attacking with Part 108 is instead of Part 107, where the assumption is drones just fail out of the sky and you have to reduce the transfer of energy,
Yeah.
so that compared to the rigid object, you're actually looking at reliability hours. However, from my side, 150 hours reliability is bullshit. I don't think that's enough. And people are pissed about type cert being 1,000+ hours. But I'm seeing here a lot of overflow from those ASTM meetings where they think they're going to get a reliable aircraft after 150 hours. I can tell you from the data I have, 150 hours doesn't prove the aircraft is good
Is
as well.
that the? Hang on, can I just jump in and stop you there? They're saying 150 hours. If I turned up with a new airframe and it went through 150 hours, tickety
No kidding.
boo, that'll do.
Yeah, so it says here, Section 108.935B proposes each
Wow.
UAS make, model, and configuration complete no less than 150 failure-free flight test hours.
In the stuff that I've done, I do 100 hours just to make sure that UV is not going to make it fall. I do 100 hours just to make sure it's not shaking. That's my
You got 100
starting
hours in a
point.
day, eh?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. That's
The thing that
nuts.
gets me with this whole thing is that 108's reliant on detect and avoid being a crucial part of the whole thing, but we don't have a reliable detect and avoid system that would reach that level of operation. Yeah, we've got conspicuity, we've got audio and visual things, but none of them are foolproof. None of them are going to provide guaranteed detect and avoid. And it was something the size of an airship. Surely we could change the rules a little bit, because an airship seeing a manned aircraft is going to be a lot harder than a manned aircraft seeing an airship. They're not small. It's not like it's going to appear from nowhere. It's a sizable thing. So what really annoys me about this whole drone regulation setup is that I don't know of one single regulation that applies to manned aircraft that has been changed to reflect the increased risk that drones pose in the national airspace. It's like everything has to stay the same for manned aviation, but we're going to make all these drone people do these really hard things that can't be done really in order to fit in. How about we just say, well, we're going to change some of the manned aviation regs, and that will make the whole situation safer in a practical and achievable fashion. But no, it's like it's sacrosanct. You can't touch the manned regulations. What's going on?
What we did back in the day is we coordinated the airspace and just acted like another aircraft. We weren't. My airship, I could carry the 75 and the 60, even the smallest 35. I could carry a radio relay comm set that I had, and I was just another airplane. I carried a transponder. They gave me a transponder code. I was in the pattern. I was reporting altitude. I already had a delegated point of space that I was going to work in anyway. So we didn't ask for anybody to bend anything for us. We're going to integrate with you. And this is what we've been doing for 15 years, is integrating this along with any other aircraft, whether it's a bigger one or not. Just trying to figure out ways to integrate in the system that already exists. Since we're not AI, we're not AI and all that crap, all the fully autonomous. There's still going to be people. There's always going to be a person in there. So why are you trying to do that, and why are you putting the onus only on us and making it so ridiculous that they can't? It's just the fear. Even if you do hit the aircraft, you're not going to crash and die. You can do a little damage, but I'm going to lose the drone, and we've been doing RC, we've been flying air shows, fun flies at closed airports. Yeah, I see all your videos where you guys fly at that airport, and then they just, when the man stuff isn't flying, hey, when someone comes in the pattern, you come down and land. We've been doing this for 40, 50, as long as the hobby's been going. And on the commercial side, it doesn't make any difference. It's just now you're liable, and yeah, I'll carry the insurance. I'll do all that. I'm liable. Yeah, sue me. That's what we did back in the day, and it was working very well. We just
You were just lucky.
Arbitrary shutdown was insane.
Just luck. There's nothing to do with risk management. It's all about luck. That's what the regulators will tell you. But the other thing that really annoys me is I just watched a video on CNN where they had Defend and all these other counter-UAS companies.
I just saw that as well.
And they're saying the growing risk of an attack by drones in the USA, the growing risk of attacks. Well, what are they going to do? One of the biggest ways of dealing with this, one of the ways that if I was wanting to really upset things is I'd create something that denied GPS. So all these delivery drones could be denied GPS over a wide area with a relatively simple piece of equipment. Where's the fallback for that? Okay. I mean, I don't see any way when you've lost GPS that you can, if you've got one guy in charge of 10 drones all out there carrying 50 kilograms of freight around, what the hell's going to happen? I mean, he can't fly 50 at once.
They crash. That's the risk.
Yeah.
Man kills man. A man flight's allowed to kill so many people, we're not even allowed to scratch them. It's going to
That's
crash.
right.
It's just the risk is lower. That's the answer. And that's the answer
Yeah,
no one wants to
I
hear.
think we
and
should
that's
have a
the-
quota. We should be the drone industry
Of
should give them a
course.
quota, and if you can kill up to 20 people, and then you've got to be grounded. Every
I
year.
can't say my joke. I have a joke for that.
But it's interesting, Tony, that you mentioned having a radio relay, because I didn't want to get into the argument, but a company on this week on LinkedIn, or last week on LinkedIn, invented that very system and the future. It's like everyone's been doing that for years. Come
I love all
on,
the
why
first.
are you?
We're the first to do this. We're the first to do that. No,
Oh,
dude, we've been doing this forever. We've
but it's
drawn this use case straight into the ground, and you didn't want to hear it. And I mean, we just didn't have the support. We had no support. AVSI said pound sand. We didn't have an AMA would say, I don't want to have anything to do with this. This is a hobby. This is your thing. And then the FAA, it's easier to pass the but. What happened was someone had to be held responsible for it. No one wanted to. And I was involved with that office all the way up till 2012. And then I got back into it around 15. And the whole time it was passed to the next retiring guy. It was a retirement spot for each guy that headed up this committee. They didn't want to put their name on something on the way out the door. There was nobody pushing it on the government side. And our industry wasn't there yet. Even though China, DJI was taking it, man. They were taking it. We were doing aerials. They were making money. I mean, I was there when DJI hit the ground. I was one of the ones selling them out hobby towns and getting everybody up, putting the all the way from the Phantom 1 to the 3.5. And oh shit, these things are spying on us. We were saying that such when the 3.5 came out. We were like, you got to do what? You're gonna do what? And all this is going into a database? Are you freaking kidding me? So we knew these things, and we told anybody who would listen. But it was just this big surprise. And that's how the technology is too. It's like, we just discovered this. No, it's been around. It's been around. You're just not paying attention, or you just came into the industry.
Yeah, and here you are. You're invented again. That's why I've called myself TRL5, because that's the current scourge. It's the current scourge of it's the buzzword. This is the current buzzword. TRL1. It's like, no, all these things are TRL9. No, you're not. It's like it's driving the TR technical readiness level thing is driving me nuts, and it's a new scam word in the industry, or a scam phrase in the industry, I think. And
he's gone to sleep.
They
I
got him
deal
on
with
the
DEFCON
TRL.
levels myself.
Cold over there.
StreamYard
I'm
is
back.
TRL6.
Oh, yeah, you're back.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just TRL1 or whatever. But I did what Josh did see the thing about the airworthiness certificates, and I thought it was very cynical that it was on page 336. And if you've been around a while, you know what 336 was, and that's the page they put that on. Now that's my tin hat conspiracy theory, but nice job, FAA. So Josh, you just quickly say what that means, the airworthiness requirements, or what you need to do.
Yeah, there's a bunch of airworthiness requirements, but the one that caught my attention was, and I can see so that they started with a practical argument. Give them credit. The practical argument is under Part 108, similar to Ops Over People. I don't know about for remote ID, but for Ops Over People, anyone with an MOC, not DOC, but the MOC, can be audited on site visit by the FAA. And so their argument is that there's an additional burden by having foreign manufacturers without manufacturing in the actual US, because now they're going to need to figure out how to do the auditing. So it says here, manufacturer will be required to meet the eligibility requirements before submitting a declaration of compliance. And it states that for the manufacturer to be eligible to apply for the airworthiness acceptance, the drone must be manufactured in the US or be manufactured in a country with a bilateral airworthiness agreement addressing UAS, or a bilateral aviation safety agreement with associate implementation procedures for airworthiness addressing UAS are equivalent. So what's interesting with that one is like, there's those bilateral agreements, but is addressing UAS. So in Canada, we're moving to BVLOS this November we call it low risk BVLOS, low population density, but we have something called a PVD, a pre-validated declaration. So you go to Transport Canada, show them how you're going to comply with the rules, and show all the standards and all that great stuff. And then they say, yeah, we like your plan. Now you have 2 years to go and actually implement and execute. So that's it to me is like, hey, we want to see how you're going to design, and if we like the standards you're going to meet, like the ASTM standards, etc. And then the other one they said here, without the UAS being manufactured in the U.S., bearing incidents their agreements with foreign entities, the FAA cannot officially fulfill its oversight responsibilities. And then they go into more of the political side is the FAA is asking for specific public comment on whether there should be any particular manufacturing restrictions on foreign manufacturers, specifically restrictions on protected entity, or what is it called? It's from a covered country. So you've got that language that says, hey, come tell us that we shouldn't allow foreign companies. And when I look at the Part 108 rule, like I have the World Trade Organization thought in my head being like, we have agreements. And it's one that like you hear, we're going to support domestic manufacturing. Like the way this rule is written under the current administration is like, let's go prop up American industry, which is fine. If you want to do that, go ahead. But like, don't come to our countries asking to make money, because now he's telling people we want to export all this technology around the world. It's like, you don't get both. If you're gonna buy, you're gonna sell. And then the other one is, to me, it's just like the other one that I don't know, and I'm speculating with Tin Hat, is I noticed it says unmanned. I thought they adopted uncrewed. So this is part of the anti-woke agenda, which is hilarious. Somebody probably spent a lot of time getting rid of all unmanned, uncrewed. And it's like, that's a real good use of taxpayer money. But again, I'm not American, so I'll pick my battles.
It's a backdoor blue UAS deal. It's got nothing to do with where it came from, because manned systems, everything's built to a standard. Doesn't matter where it came from. It's built to a standard. I have to have a standard, then I can get my FAA cert and my airworthiness to build. It's been that way from time immemorial. It could be that way with us too. But this is a backdoor effort for the blue UAS crap. That's all it is. It's got nothing practically to do with getting technology out. It doesn't matter. I'm building it to a standard. Who cares where it comes from? The standard is public. So how is that ITAR? It's ridiculous. So that's all it is trying to push the blue UAS agenda. Got nothing to do with ITAR.
And the problem is with this rule is it's going to be implemented by the time this administration's done. So like it's going to be before they leave.
No, it
so
won't.
It's like,
No, it won't.
You don't think this will?
No, it won't.
I think the final rule will be approved 2027, and then it'll take 2 or 3 years to comply. So if we look at Part 107 over people, the proposed rule was like announced in 2020 at like December time, and then it came into effect April 2021. But the first company, Ag Eagle, on the Ops over people list was like 2022. But then no parachutes got on there until 2024. So we do see that like stagger, like we can throw out the rule, but then everyone's going to do all the work. And by the way, if we don't accept a means of compliance, no one can make a declaration compliance. So it's easy to accept the rule and then punt it down the road.
I don't know, but I know what I did. I know what I did catch this week was it finally happened. I don't know, something happened. Some dude did this this week. Well done, you. That seems like quite a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah. So this has been like several years of work, and basically we're now allowed to go do avalanche testing, and we're allowed to drop explosives from drones for avalanche purposes only. We're not allowed to just go drop explosives on like a bunch of ice on the river, but it's like very specific, lot of specific like details with like how we can test, what type of explosives and things like that. But we're allowed to fly heavy, we're allowed to drop, and we're allowed to drop dangerous goods. This is a good milestone for us to actually go and like, we've been doing these simulated inert tests, but really without doing the energetic, you're not validating the explosive side. So that's the next milestone of like the science behind that piece of like making sure if you're doing surface level air blast or if you're penetrating and how that it does. But yeah, so this is a good one. And this kind of leads into us basically going out, talking with the different stakeholders on this technology. So yeah, so that was good. I didn't do much on that. So I'd like to say I did everything, but no, it was the team doing all the good work, but it's cool. Right. And like, this one's an interesting one because, simultaneous innovation. We're not the only ones trying to do this. There's a company in the States. There's a couple companies in Europe. I saw one demo of Australia. It's like there's a market here. Is it $1 billion market? No, but it's a market in which like we can. This is a clear case of let's use drones, because they're safer and more efficient than the other alternatives.
Yeah, but the alternative looks more fun. You are hitting the dull, dangerous, and dirty thing. You're doing it in a dull way. I mean, come on, let's get a big cannon and fire it at a mountain. That looks far more fun.
Yeah, the problem with the howitzers is that I know the ski hills in the States are getting them taken away by the government. They're using them, like they're old, as well as apparently there's some issues with the maintenance. Like there's the skill set there to maintain them as well. Like the Canadian infantry that do it in Canada in the wintertime apparently just love doing it. Like this is a great time to go train. They're in the interior BC and that's what they're doing there. But yeah, it's not but the thing is with using a drone, it's not going to replace all the systems. Like there's something called racks, which are like stationary infrastructure. And those are like known prone avalanche locations on different locations that they do proactively, but they do need to be swapped out. So if you're midwinter and you can't get a helicopter up there to swap them out, the drone could be a replacement. You're still going to have people do, like, hopefully this gets rid of hand tosses so that the ski hills are a bit safer, but like there's still going to be like traditional methods used because, a drone is a new tool. You can take photos with a camera or a drone. It depends why you need it, right? And you notice in the press release, there was no industry first. There was no there was no
did you mention AI? You surely must have
no
AI.
AI.
What about blockchain? You didn't mention AI.
No disruption, just a safer, better, a potentially new safer tool.
I'm not sure that's allowed to continue in this world. Now, speaking of innovation and AI, as we were, there's further innovation has been created in New Zealand. Now, just how many test hours have you put into this, Bruce?
Well, none yet, but I've seen it working in football stadiums around the world.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, it is true.
It also fires T-shirts if you run out of toilet paper.
No, very good. The counter US stuff. But what I have noticed you posting about this week, and we've all noticed, I've forgotten what you call it. What are they calling this junk on YouTube and all these AI generated AI slop? Yeah. My word, it has gone mad, hasn't it? It's gone mad on LinkedIn as well. People are posting the most ridiculous airframe designs and things and saying such and such company has developed this and it will do this and it will do that. You just wonder how long people are going to put up with it, or what tools the various agencies are.
Because people are going to be abandoning YouTube shortly, because I got an email from YouTube saying, we've decided that you now live in the USA and as of later this month you may be classified as under 18, so you'll have to submit ID and all that sort of stuff. I'm thinking, what the? And people are really getting upset by this whole, because they think it's an information collecting thing. They're going to, in fact, I've seen someone already who was classified as being under 18. They said, this is because you don't have channel history, even though they've had a YouTube channel since 2011. Yes. And they've put up over 1,100 videos, and their video content it's a guy with his an afro haircut. He's obviously about 30 something, and so they've got pictures of him already on his videos. But no, you need to submit a selfie or government ID. I mean, they're thinking, my goodness, this just looks like a huge data gathering exercise to me. And so many people have said, if I get hit with this, I'm off YouTube, and I may join them, because I've got the self-hosting set up over there. I may join them and say, I'm not having it. I mean, you can take a thing too far.
Well, that again, I always hark back to LinkedIn, the place I like arguing a lot. They've got this verification.
Look, he's been censored by YouTube.
Oh, there we go. And I went again. No ways, LinkedIn having my passport details and stuff like that. No way at all. It's a funny old world we're moving into. Now, we are honoured to have Ian, the breaker of things. So we could have a what's in your box of bits this week section, Ian. Box
gets bigger and bigger. I deny it is back together, so I completely deny things are completely broken.
Second hand, though.
It's
very second hand.
Yeah, I do have the DJ insurance on it, so it might get driven over and replaced. I'm actually, I was free. I'm not traveling this week, and I saw the message come in, and I thought it's been too long since I thought it'd come in, and it's been an interesting couple of weeks actually, because things are coming to a head. I put that video out, Gary, which I saw you commented on, which is there's so much misinformation and misunderstanding and lack of people's real questioning what's really going on in the sense of the DJI stuff, the FPV stuff, which again are two very different problems. You know, we have China refusing to export certain types of products, which is FPV based components specifically, and then you have China trying to export drone products, which is DJI, and not being allowed to let it into the US. And then you've got all of the, you know, the lobbying stuff and the quite interesting comments that DJI are now publicly saying no one will talk to them. And I think that's a very interesting move, because it's an interesting story in itself, that why suddenly all of these people were making videos about, you need to go and talk to your senator, you need to go and talk to people. And that's all being filtered down from DJI because they're desperate and they're in a position where no one will even talk to them at the moment. And the genius of what was done last year is you don't have to say no. This whole audit thing is brilliant because they don't even have to fail them in an audit. They just don't have to do it. And they don't even have to give them the bad news. They can basically ignore the telephone, not answer the door, and it's going to happen. But in essence, they've already done it, because this import block is basically removing DJI product from the US. Everyone thought it would be over by August, yet it isn't. And the chances are they'll string it out now to the end of the year. And when a ban happens, no one will really notice because you can't get the products anyway. And all of this talk for years of people saying, everyone will be in uproar. No one's in uproar. People are going on groups and saying, I can't buy anything, or I can't buy this. But the truth is, the world has continued to revolve.
I don't know about that. I think I was at a conference last week with a lot of police officers, and the amount of times I heard, if you try to pull the DJ out of my hands, you're gonna have to fight me. Like, these guys very passionate and like,
they want it. Yeah, they absolutely want the product. But the reality is, it's basically banned for all intents and purposes right now. And if it does get banned, basically the US will go back 10 years from a capability perspective, because there is no other brand, there is no other option. The other option there actually is also on the list to be banned, which is Autel, and they have their own problems. There is no off-the-shelf COTS product at the price point, at the capability that can do what DJI does. And let's be all realistic that you can go and buy a Mavic Thermal, and for search and rescue, they are incredible tools. The M30 is an insane tool in itself. And if they get banned, then the rest of the world will continue to march forward, and the US will just slow from a drone perspective, because there's no one to fill the gap, and there won't be anyone to fill the gap.
It'll be a while. We have people come by our shop. I get interviewed all the time on what would you do, and it's like, because we do, mainly DoD stuff, because the commercial stuff has been dead for so long. But on this, my stock answer always is, I'm going to start with 100 million, and I got to start acquiring technologies and knowledge. I got to find the chip base. We're in Texas, so we got Texas Instruments. We got a bunch of people. A lot of city of Fort Worth, city of Arlington. All these cities are all prime for it. We're doing our best to align it, and even on the DoD side, we've got Airbus sniffing at us, wanting us to make cheaper tritables, and the cheaper tritables, we can never stand that up in any real way that would help convert over to a consumer drone. But the consumer drone market is so artificially low priced. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be down the road, but that'll be the switch. And as far as the police with the DJIs, I mean, they'll use them until they fall apart, and they can't. They can use them, and then they'll probably sneak them in from Canada. They'll probably keep them going as long as they can. But I don't know. I don't really care that DJI's gone. To me, in this, we need to do it anyway. Whether it happened, it didn't happen. You guys aren't used to shutdowns. We lived it, and we're living it a second time. So having your whole industry ripped out from underneath you is novelty now. But this is what happened back in the day. This is par for the course for us, and this allows us.
Well, I was just going to say, so before that, AUVSI did their best because they were in the back pocket of the big DoD vendors, and they really didn't want various things. They really didn't help the small operator. Then they got DJI on board, and they are on the board of AUVSI, and now they don't want DJI, and they're stuffing stuff up the other way. So they've got like a 20-year history of stuffing up the industry from both ends. It's a very, very proud achievement from the
pay to
AVSI.
play. Whoever gives them the most money,
Yeah.
that's who they're going to back.
Well,
Yeah.
they're not
So
profit.
DJI had the money to back it, but it's not doom and gloom. We're building enough through. I'm a manufacturer. There are other manufacturers. We're working on it, but
Yeah.
it's not just the fact that we have to like. I got to make motors. I got to acquire technologies. I got to acquire a way to make motors, speed controls. I got to invest in the winding machines. It's not rare earth magnets. That's BS. That's nothing to do with that. It's the fact that I don't have the winding tools. All these little drone motors back in China are hand wound by little Chinese girls. No, I don't have that here because we kicked out all the Mexicans. So now we can't do that here. So now we have to come up with the machine. It's just innovation. It will happen. It will take a little bit longer. And at least drones are a thing. At least they keep promising them. And at least we have some kind of look what they're doing comparison that we have to meet. Hopefully the U.S. pride of we got to be first, we got to be the best will kick in even more. We're shaking the trees at every level. None of the investors are interested in any of this stuff. It's not quick turnaround. It's not medical. It's not fast. It's a long run.
But
I think one thing to talk about DJI is like I just took a look. Like I'm still shipping parachutes for DJI drones into the States. People are still buying them. So there's
it'll be
drones.
20 years before it's scrubbed if they don't change anything, because that's how long they'll last. They'll bring them in from Canada. They'll still use them. It's a good rig. I want one. I want to keep mine. The few fleet I got going, I'll use them sparingly now.
The real problem is that they can't get them fixed now. The people with Care Refresh, they've bought nothing.
Oh no, they have to learn how to fix them like we did.
No, usually they ship you a new one, and the problem is you can't get a new one into the country. So if you bought Care Refresh and you damage your drone, it's worthless because even if they send you one, it'll be held at the border and you won't get it.
Europe for the FPV guys, right? They're doing that now too. The FPV guys are in panic, especially the racers. I just watched a couple of videos because we have a big racing group here in Dallas, and they're in. They don't even practice hard. They can't risk breaking the drone. They can't get parts. So it's happening not just with DJI. It's across the board, and that's and I kind of giggle at it. My brother asked me about this earlier, and I said, yeah, I kind of remember the time when I was moonlighting at Hobbytown, and we were trying to get the FPV going. Horizon was trying to make FPV, and all they did was crap on everything that wasn't hand built and all this other stuff. And now that they're in this dire reach, they don't have anybody to help them because they want to be these outcast skateboarders of the skateboard essence of the UAS world, and now they need help. And I'm here to help them. It's just they've got to organize. And I don't even know. I didn't think I organized. They're just always used to the cheap money. It's just I heard one of them cry, "Oh, this part was 30. Now it's going to cost me $60." I said, $60 takes you out of the hobby, really?
But
one thing is. The one issue that I see with the American manufacturers, I see this also in Europe, is that they're not manufacturers; they're integrators. They don't build stuff. Yeah. They don't actually.
We integrate.
They cut carbon fiber. They get it pre-cut. They then assemble, and it's like, it's like the lack of being vertically integrated. Like I sew my own parachutes
because you're passing labor. You're passing labor down to cheap labor. Yeah. I can't pay my people, and we don't want to artificially. It's the Walmart. It's the made in China tag. You got used to this being this cheap. It's that pill you're going to have to swallow instead of your DJI level costing $2,000. Now it's going to cost you $6,000. What it should have cost you.
I don't know about that. I challenge that.
I argue that as well.
I can personally compete on DJI M300 parachutes, M30 parachutes against anyone in the world. So and I make my own. These are Canadian made. I have people who are on all living wages. Like our minimum salary starts at $55,000. I have people properly paid and up, manufacturing, doing production, and there's efficiencies. But like if you're just looking to buy off the shelf and tack on, of course that's where. But like I've got margin that I can eat. Whereas like if you're not building it, and that's where I see a lot of the issue is. We can complain against China, but it's like you can also just innovate and improve and like get your stuff in order.
Your thing is fairly simple. You can do that. A drone is extremely complex, and I have to keep updating it. DJI wouldn't have
I have
lasted
to
as long as
build.
it would have if they couldn't keep upgrading it. I had to get the next one. I had to the
Yeah, and I
innovation.
have to build a
Yeah.
parachute for each model and then go crash it 50 times, and then I have to spend 150 grand per
Oh,
compliance.
understand.
It's not
And
cheap.
that's scalable at that size, but when you're doing the whole thing, sub chips and all this, it's a lot heavier layered effort. That's where it does. This is why they keep.
I have
passing
a
down the
7-layer PCB flight controller that I built myself. Like, no,
Yeah.
we built everything. I do injection molding. Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
not.
now I want 100,000 of them. Give me 50. Give me 500.
Yeah, so that.
Of those.
Yeah, for sure, the volume on that, but like
Yeah.
I'm doing thousands, so I've got
But that's-
volume.
There's a misconception with China because you hear this. Number one, labor isn't why DJI is cheap. DJI have almost fully automated production lines now. DJI haven't used labor for 8 years to manufacture their drones. It isn't that their drones are cheap because they're using anything cheap. They're cheap because of volume, and they own the entire stack top to bottom. But this owning of the stack is the problem the US will face. Because if we look at DJI's core number one, which I always call their crown jewels, is OcuSync, the video technology. Okay, that could exist in the US tomorrow, could have existed 5 years ago. The reason it doesn't is because of patents and because of the stranglehold certain companies in the US have over chipsets. And an example of that is Qualcomm in the 4G and 5G modem market. Now, DJI going won't fix that problem. Qualcomm, as an example, are not going to open up their patents tomorrow to allow anyone to just make their own equivalent. And what will cause the problem in the US is the same problem why 3DR failed, why all of the others failed, is the internal restrictions of operating in a Western environment is what has held everyone back. And if you look in China, what they are very good at is spreading technology, whether legitimately or not, because that's a whole other argument. But the reality is that spreading of technology and not holding it like Western companies do allows people to stand on the shoulder of giants and companies to keep stepping up and up and up. And the problem the rest will have is that stuff is still held behind closed doors and it won't change. And until, someone's going to have to force a breakup of some of these companies if you really wanted this stuff to change, and it's just not going to happen.
Or start a new chipset that's not. So you're using this is another conversation we had with someone over at TI. What they told us was it would be invention of a new chipset that was open source, and that way, and this falls into the DoD because the DoD is tired of licenses. They're tired of paying They're tired of Andrew and all them locking up the tech where you have to pay subscription based. Skydio with subscription, all that crap. When you get a DJI, you own the DJI and you have it full spectrum. I don't have to pay for anything else. When I get a Skydio, I get a quarter of a Skydio. When I get that other new drone that came in, and then everything Anduril sells to the DoD is the same model, and that's not what they want. But so on the chipset side, for exactly what you're saying, the lockup, I'm going to patent this one we did strictly for a drone. They're talking about not doing that, leaving that open source. And I have a little faith in it because Texas and TI is actually trying to do it. They see it, and with Trump in and then pushing it, having them not being able to lock it down, it just depends on how much can get done with whoever's running things until the next greedy guy gets in and allows them to lock it up.
I think the problem is it's too late. This was locked up 10 years ago, and this is the problem because if you take DJI OcuSync, it is 4G and 5G modem technology based around smartphones. It's the same core underlying tech, and all of that is already tied up. The only reason China's got it, and there's a really interesting story in how it ended up happening, and it started in 2010, 2011, and 2012, where they were trying to make their own homegrown chipset for smartphones and tablets. It's as simple as that. They were trying to make their own chipsets rather than buy them. And whereas I said earlier, that technology getting filtered down, that is exactly what happened in China. Whereas in the West, that technology remains very much under the tight control of one or two companies. And yeah, as you say, it will take a mammoth task to untie the bow that was tied up through patents, through all of it, because the problem is it's money.
It's kicking TI to like it's the volume. They don't like it. They don't not even talk to the. We don't have the volume yet in a
But it's
small
not even the
startup.
chipset.
Even
It's the technology.
Yeah.
It's not even the chip. The chip's easy.
I know.
£1 million, we can knock out the ASIC.
Yeah.
Anyone with a few million quid in their pocket can do the ASIC. The hard part
There you
is
are,
the
Bruce.
underlying IP, and that's the
it's also
difficult bit.
manufacturing in volume. That's another problem.
It's you know, this
To get
stuff-
TI off their butt, I have to order enough units to make it viable for them. They have to. And as a startup, I can't really because I'm a startup. So I'm going to be selling a couple of thousand. DJI is already at scale, right? Doing hundreds of thousands. They're already at scale to demand whatever they want from whoever makes chips. We have to go through that pain process of being a more expensive drone, moving it up until when my volume goes up, now I can start demanding the chipsets in 100, 200,000 pieces, and then the price comes down.
But
That's
yeah,
just
but
one. That's just one
manufacturing's
small
fixable.
piece. It's plastic molding. It's the molding every time you change the model. Every time I change the gimbal, the chip is one, but it's being able to be diverse enough and be able to retool every time a new variant comes out, and then keeping that tooling up so I can do replacement parts. It's the supply chain. It's when you get into big manufacturing, we don't do, like that has shipped over. We shipped it over with everything, and getting it back over just means we're gonna have to pay more. And that's what I keep telling. This is what it is. It's the supply. It's whenever it upgrades, I have to keep it. I have to keep that drone flying and support it for at least a couple of years after I release it. And this is not what the new guys are doing. The new startups will just throw. Skydio threw away the one, and then went to two. Then they threw that away for the next. They just threw it away, and you can't do
And
that
then-
because you know.
And so they're just about to launch what they should have done in the first place. Their big mistake, and remember, you saw them here first, and they had the calculations behind them. Their big mistake was not going with the aircraft that could fly around in the parking lot, not going with the fixed wing. They dived after the multi-rotor, let's beat DJI thing. If they'd stayed with the fixed wing, they would have. They would have been miles ahead. Everyone's caught up with their unique secret sauce of being able to not hit things because of cameras. Everyone can do that now. They've lost that advantage. That's my opinion. Anyway.
The thing is with this technology and scale, now that drones are a military thing, and that how many are Ukraine going through in a year, there is the volume of scale there to make it worthwhile to develop an alternative chipset and to put it into production. But it'll be driven by by military demand, probably not civilian demand.
That's exactly what's happening. That's 100% because that's the only people sniffing at our door who want, and they know they're telling me that we want ALEs, launch effect, aerial launch effect aircraft, and they try to go to Angel, they try to go all these ones that have the tube launchers, and it's just that tech's not there, and it's way too expensive. $200,000, $300,000 a pop for a tube launch. It's a one-way vehicle. And so they're coming to us on the small, and I'm like, they come to my shop, they see all the stuff we do, we make small drones. I said, yeah, but I can't do it in volume. We have these same conversations. So hopefully we can leverage someone like Airbus and someone like, we got Bell Helicopter. We got all these people here. And we just have to get them leveraged to where if they're buying enough, then that's the only way I have. Only way I have to do anything in mass is to sell it to the DoD first, and then hopefully spin it off to the commercial. That's the only.
I
path.
think
That is.
I think one of the problems with you also that we have in the industry, and we're going to see a wave of this, is everyone's on these 5 to 10 year timelines because of venture capital. So you've got these people who are only thinking, what do I need to do in the next 2 to 3 years to hit a milestone and raise another round?
Yeah.
If you're not profitable, you're on that VC track, the raising track. And if you have a couple stumbles, you're done. And I think that's where, like, I know at our company, we've been around 8 years now. They're profitable 3 years in a row now. So we're now talking, what does the next 10 years look like? What does the next 20 years look like? Obviously, there's going to be, stumbles along the way. Things are going to change. New rules are going to come out. But it's like, I think the problem with the industry a lot of time is everyone thinks it's Silicon Valley software. I'm going to sell an app and make $1 billion and I'm Instagram. But it's like, no, like you've got to build an industrial base. You got to build a supply chain. You got to build partners, and you've got to build end users and distributors. You've got to build out this whole ecosystem. And if you have the pressure of VC money, you've got to make these short-term solutions that are sexy today. But like, if you can step back and say, I can survive for the next decade, whatever happens, then you can kind of start looking. Obviously, that's a nice thing to have. It takes a long time to get there. Shit comes at you. But like, there's definitely, how do you look at a longer roadmap is my view now on like the companies that are really going to survive in the industry are the ones that don't need to be at $1 billion valuation today, but are just taking chunk by chunk by chunk.
So steady, it always wins the race, doesn't it? Doesn't matter what industry you're in, you can't be an overnight success.
That's why quadcopters have turtle mode.
Exactly. And Mitchell mentioning Robinson procured Ascent and don't see mass production. Yeah, I've also followed that with a great deal of interest. Now. Yeah. Oh, Cliff Moss, Bumpy Jones. Yeah, it's coming steady. I like Robinsons. Now, time is marching on, and in my comments for this one, I said we're going to have to start discussing something which we're actually going to discuss properly next week. But we're going to have to, for UK viewers, we're thinking of you, dear UK viewers, and remote ID. Well, I don't know. Do you want to talk to it a little bit, Ian, or shall I just roughly rant? Is he going to unmute? There he goes. Do you want to talk to it?
Will you start and then I'll jump in?
Well, we believe, Ian and I have been chatting about it, and our famous Tame barrister as well. And we think there's a bit of a case for making a push towards a letter on the grounds of GDPR, the data protection rules in Europe, for identifiable information. That's not the phrase, is it? With remote ID for the end user. We don't think they're going to be able to get away with it in the UK like they did in America by going to get to a judge and the judge said, yeah, okay, stamp whatever you want.
But
we don't think it's going to happen.
So say again? Car registrations are the same though.
Yeah.
It's identifying, but it's not personally identifying because you don't have access to the database that links the number to the person.
It's not though, you know that, because a car registration doesn't give your personal location away.
Yes, it does. You're sitting in the car.
No, well, you're not always.
Are you?
That's the point. And
but when you're using the vehicle, you're sitting in it.
If your car's in the garage and you turn it on, it isn't pinging out a signal where your drone is, and obviously giving.
Tesla tell you everything.
I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, obviously, we can't just say the US because Europe's got away with it as well, and they've got GDPR the same. But then again, they probably haven't got an information commissioner to go and have a look at everything. And it's more than just GDPR. You'd be going back to the Data Protection Act. There could well be other legislation that's hit. I noticed actually when it talks about, well, the interesting thing actually is someone else has done freedom of information to the CAA, and they haven't actually got much back. But what was interesting, well, basically, this in itself was telling. They basically kind of redacted everything and don't want to show anything. Now, if you're doing everything and you're convinced it's all above board and none of it's excuse me, none of it's up to be contested, then you wouldn't have to hide everything. And amongst that, they have referred to just one single page on the ICO website that they think is in their favor. And I think it was something to do with kind of indirect transmission. So obviously that's what they think gives them the ability to take a huge big dump on our privacy by giving geolocation away. But it's above my experience to know if there's anything we can genuinely utilize here. It's the kind of thing actually I have been meaning was to get in touch with Big Brother Watch, because obviously they've got the experience and probably the legal to know if there's something dodgy there. But I was waiting for Richard Ryan first to see what he's got to say. The inkling I got off him is he's uncomfortable with it. He thinks I get the impression that he thinks it's on kind of a dodgy ground, but we'll have to see.
And the other thing, at very least, is remember the CAA put out that request for information. How does everybody feel about all this thing? And many people wrote in and say, we don't like the idea at all. Go away. And when they released the report, they said, oh no, it's all fine. Everyone loved it. It was great. They thought it was the best thing ever. So this is going to be perhaps potentially another opportunity to through another agency, one by one, make our voices heard, or you guys in the UK make your voices heard.
You can get your voice heard a lot better as well, because really that was only X number of thousand, wasn't it? So even though that was 85, 86%, you could be actually more. A lot of people didn't put it in because it was deliberately made complicated. And as always, it's deliberately worded in a way that's trying to nudge you towards their answers. Where if you're just doing a letter to the Information Commissioner's office, you don't have to worry about all the rest. You can just say, I'm not happy about RID. I'm not happy about my personal location being given out.
Well, as you've mentioned where the letters are going, and I was studiously not, because I thought we were not going to do that.
Well, I mean,
it might be.
I was going to say, we're not saying to do it yet. We've not given out the exact email address they mentioned, but obviously that's the body in the UK that would deal with this.
And but the important point to that is that they've suggested that people write to them at a particular email address if people have concerns. So they are ready and waiting to take your call. This call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. So so they're ready. So the plan is hopefully Richard will have something ready to go by Friday, and then I'll post it on SES News, and then we'll have a chat about it and his thoughts next Tuesday, and you can all decide whether you're going to write or not. I was going
to say, assuming it is the case that there is a genuine, some genuine, I guess, lever to be pulled, then it'll be important not just to be on SUAS News, but really every big channel,
everywhere. Even Bruce's, the Liverpool, the one arm. I want a one-arm bandit of regulation now. He said Liverpool. I want this thing where you can just
given the runaway success that remote OD has been in America and the way it's prevented so many misunderstandings with drones and airliners, I don't see how people can say no to it in the UK.
No, absolutely. It would be foolish to
because they learn from lessons overseas. The regulators always look at the overseas and they learn from those mistakes. So I'm sure the CAA has said, no, we're not going to do this. It would be silly, ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we've got to do. You can't just roll over like everybody seems to do every time. You just got to. If you do a little bit of something, it might amount to nothing. But you can't just roll over. It's just not fair. And
look at the pushback on the this new age-gated access to the internet in the UK. The public are not in a good mood to have further erosions of their privacy. So now's a good time, actually.
Yeah, well, that's why I did it deliberately. We waited, especially not. Now, I've got to ask both things. I know we're doing this the night before. Foyer Ian comes to the show quite deliberately to make sure that he doesn't attend. But Simon, if you're in the area, I know you were talking about what's going on. But other Ian, are you coming across to the
plan is, yes, I've got the ticket. I've got the ticket. I just need to figure out the hotel because the pricing was horrific every time I was looking. I always get grumpy when I have to pay over £100 a night for a room.
Yeah. Well, so, it's driving from Wales
without company.
Without company.
Is ever worth over £100 a night. It doesn't matter where it is. So but I need to just sort the hotel out. That's all.
So will be a pub on a school night the night before the actual event starts. The event
it's on Friday. It starts Friday, doesn't it?
It's on the Friday. Yeah, this is the Thursday night. So
I'll have to stay the Thursday night because it'll be too far of a drive otherwise.
In the morning, and it starts quite early. So for those of you that don't know, the RG Pilot Developers Conference is happening in Richmond in Yorkshire, and I'll be landing on the. They might be actually. They might actually. You never know. They might be there. I'll be landing on that Thursday, so hopefully I'll get up to Richmond in time. But about 150 developers from around the world, and it stands to be quite good. So we'll fill in the NBA. Phil's definitely speaking. I don't know if else it will be. It's going to be a massive geek fest. It's going to be a lot of fun. And there's some quite interesting flight demonstrations planned, and that's all happening just off the A1M. I mean, dare I say such a thing? And
has Ben actually finished the shed yet?
I've no idea. Yeah, I've no idea. But Ben doesn't actually know that we're going to his pub on the Thursday night either. I said, "Oh, Ben," and he's not replied. So we're just going to go to his pub on the Thursday night.
Is it his pub?
Yeah, that's Ben's place, the Fleece. So we're going to go to his pub on the Thursday night.
I've seen him last.
Well,
What's it called? The Fleece? Is it because of the price?
Well, yeah, exactly. So we'll be there on the Thursday night, and of course, the other nights will probably not be far away. I think all the tickets are gone, but if you are near Simon and other people, and you're going up with a gang you're coming up on Friday, aren't you, Ian?
Yeah, I'll be Friday for the day.
Yeah, cool. No, we're looking forward to it. So, look, 36. I should have been paying more attention. 39 seconds over now. So that's about the news. Unless you've got any more for us, UAV Hive, or we just sit back and wait for the hour.
I mean, there has been some stuff going off, as you know, with the freedom of information. Quite a lot going on at the minute. Probably won't delve into it too much this time, but there's I've had to put in a huge submission, 14 pages, against the Ministry of Defence for Lakenheath. So that's arguing the public interest on information coming out, which includes Mick West's findings about the Wright-Patterson US base in there as well. So the whole kitchen sinks in there about I've gone all the way back actually to a Langley sighting as well in the US. So it discusses how the US have a very poor track record of correctly identifying drones, right through to issues that surround obviously the air procs and the fact that there's a discrepancy between the National Police Air Service and the United States Air Force on that as well. So all that comes into the public interest. So a very robust argument in there. So fingers crossed. I got a very poor response from Leicestershire Constabulary about East Midlands Airport. They seem to be of the belief that East Midlands Airport's more significant to the UK than Gatwick and Heathrow. I'd like to see the justification. Well, I've asked for the justification for that in writing for when for their argument. So that'll be another interesting one. I only asked a very trivial question. It's of no consequence, no harm to them. But it's not a personal thing against me. I've actually had a look at their general responses to people, and they're generally quite unpleasant on freedom of information to people, asking even basic information. Police forces really do need to learn that the Freedom of Information Act is there. It's legislation, it's law, and it needs damn sight more respect than it gets. And one day the Information Commissioner really needs to be handing out fines, and until that day, I think things will be unnecessarily difficult. So really, there'll be more to talk about in future weeks. The one with the MOD, I know at the moment the ICO are up to cases in March. So they've got about a 5-month lag. So it will be January before that kind of decisions are made with authorities. So we're going to be waiting into the new year, I think, now for anything that's probably interesting to do with drones.
I just put up just before this is the current flights are potentially happening in the demo in the afternoon on Saturday afternoon, and I think that's the one most of us are. The Manor one would be pretty amazing. The plane follow demo. So there's going to be lots of flying, lots of other stuff. Yes, there's going to be. Go on, mate.
I put hinted already with Manor that it would be a good opportunity for them to test this delivery by delivering me a burger, so that I can say I've had Yorkshire's first drone delivery burger.
Well,
So
no,
it's
they
just-
surely they should be delivering Yorkshire puddings or something when we're all up there. They can't be delivering burgers. Surely Yorkshire puddings.
because that burger's universal.
Oh, well, there we are. On that bombshell, I think it's time we need to leave this conversation. I mean, imagine that. If you're
Gary,
in
there's something
Yorkshire,
wrong. We've got
Go on.
36 viewers. What's going on? Why
I
are we
know.
so popular? Yeah.
I know. Yes, that's right. There's lots more on LinkedIn as well, I can see. But anyway, wherever you are in the world, dear viewer, if you're in Yorkshire in September, 2 Ians and me will be there on the Saturday, drinking beer or doing something. On the Friday, you said, didn't you? And we'll see you there. Be careful wherever you are in the world. Tony, I'm very sorry to hear that the nuts airship. I'm sure it will sort itself out. It just seemed nuts to me, but there we are.
More work.
And it's more work to do. Dear viewer, look after yourself. We'll see you again next week. 2100 Gin and Tonic. Cheers, Josh.